Welcome to Tech Topics brought to you by Cybervenger. We help keep small businesses stay protected and compliant with cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Andy. I'm the managing consultant for Cybervenger. Today we're doing another deep dive into the 110 controls of the NIST 800-171 standard. This standard provides guidelines for protecting controlled unclassified information for all kinds of stuff you need to protect when doing business with the Department of Defense or other federal departments. We've got a video that goes into detail as to why you want to use it, what opportunities lay there in doing business with the Department of Defense and such. A lot of business on the table there. Today's control, though, if you want to look down here, is 3.14.2. And if you read it, just says, provide protection from malicious code at designated locations within organizational systems. Okay, so we've talked about antivirus before, and we've talked about really the need for antivirus versus endpoint protection. Endpoint protection being the next evolution of antivirus. It's not a newer version of antivirus, it's a new thing. Kind of like horse and carriage versus car, right? That kind of a change. But it's also, this one is talking not so much about the antivirus engine or versus EDR. It's talking about having a layer of malware code inspection at other specific points, border points, things like you would want an anti-malware scanner running on your web filter at your firewall to check malware that may be embedded into website code as it's hitting the workstation. That's a layer. You would want it on, definitely you want it on your email filter. Any email attachments coming to your organization must be scanned for viruses before it even hit the computer. You want a layer there. You could have a layer of malware detection in all kinds of places. I mean, if you had other applications running, I don't know if you were doing file transfer, it could scan as it's going out. I've seen a trend now where a number of backup companies will do malware scanning as they back up so they don't back up a virus, or will do scanning during a restore in case you're restoring during a ransomware attack or something like that. So you want to do those kinds of things. Now, if we look back down again at the second cell here, it goes on in quite detail. It talks about being able to scan for malicious code in applications that you have either purchased or written. So if there's custom code, you want to have policies for managing security standards. Any custom code to develop in-house should be reviewed and by some kind of standard, something that has some little legs to it, that you can justifiably say, hey, this program is how we protect our own custom code from including security weaknesses. So it's generally recommended. You want to avoid custom written code like the plague. You want to do as little as possible. If you can, avoid touching controlled unclassified information. That's obviously not always avoidable. If you got a CNC machine and you're trying to do some custom written program to make it build the widget faster or better, whatever, you may need to hand code stuff that happens, but you probably want some kind of audit process. It's a good idea to have policies in place where you only run code that's digitally signed. We've talked about digital signatures in other videos. It just gives the vendor an opportunity to prove that this code is in fact their code that they issued. So that way, when you get something from a trusted vendor, it really is trustable. And then it goes back on. It talks not just about custom code. It talks about protecting against logic bombs and backdoors and all kinds of other things. There's not a lot of detail in here as to exactly what you're supposed to do about it, but it names these types of threats. I mean, he talks about looking for stuff buried in image, like steganography, where you embed code in a JPEG or an MP3 file or something that's supposed to be a data file, not executing code. And so you want programs capable of scanning that sort of thing as well. And that really just, the short answer for all of this is go get yourself the best EDR you could afford and get off of antivirus. It's really a well-detailed way of beating that point home, as well as having malware scanning other places than just your desktop itself. Layer defense, endpoint protection, that combination of things, and a good policy for reviewing code that you're purchasing, review the vendor, and reviewing code that's written to make sure there's not any glaring security standpoints there. If you write code in a web portal, make sure it's not vulnerable to SQL injection attacks. There's software out there that'll do a bunch of standard things, fuzzers that'll just throw data at things and try to blow it up for you to try and catch mistakes you might have made. Maybe you need to go so far as hiring a third-party security company that deals with code specifically to review your code and make sure there's no problems there. I know that it sounds expensive and intimidating, and it is. That's why I always recommend you avoid writing your own code if you can. And if you do need to write your own code, maybe you could separate it so it doesn't talk to the CUI, things like that. Anything you could do to mitigate that, and always write down what you're doing and why you're doing it, and continue to follow those policies. Don't ever write down that you're doing something and then not do it. That's worse than saying, hey, we're not going to do this. At least you're honest, right? Honesty counts for a lot during an audit process or during a breach. You don't want to be fibbing. It's a big no-no, gets you a lot of trouble. So I think everyone gets the point on this control. That's really all there is to 3.14.2, and we look forward to seeing you all in the next video.
Thanks for watching. We hope this video has provided valuable information to you. Be sure to share this video with other small business owners to spread the word about the importance of cybersecurity. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want more information about cybersecurity, visit us at www.cybervenger.com.